chart, where do you choose different chart types? You choose from here. On the top left corner, you have two different mainly order flow chart types, which is imbalance chart and cluster charts. Okay, the information is the same. It is just that they are represented in two different ways. That's all. Okay, in cluster charts, I have the information of bid ask and that delta. Here I've kept those information. In imbalance chart, you'll have different information, which is I'll just show, which will have bid on the left and the ask on the right side. Okay, so what information I'm capturing here? If you see, I'm capturing a couple of things. I'm capturing the bid and the ask as a bid on the left, ask on the right. Bid means the sellers on the left, the buyers on the right. Okay, and then I'm capturing the total delta which has been traded at different levels again. Okay, that is what I'm capturing. I'm having the bar stats in the section below. Okay, which is basically the volume delta and the cumulative delta, which I mentioned to you. I'm also doing a volume profile here. Okay, which is on the left side. I marked the volume profile. So if you see, this is a cumulative profile. As I change the more chart data into the chart, the cumulative profile is changing. So I've just kept the cumulative profile, and I've just kept the view of bands as well. Okay, so all this is available on this indicator thing, and you can keep on adding the indicators. So I have these different view of bands, etc. Whatever indicators I don't want, I'll switch it off. For example, I want to see the market profile, I'll switch it on, I'll switch it off. Okay, whatever I don't want, I'll just switch it off. Okay, and then okay, bar stats. Okay, in bar stats, if you see, what you have is this thing. Okay, where do you see all the indicators and layouts? You see it here. Okay, and you can also change the order of the indicators here. For example, I want the charts above everything else, so I'll just pull the cluster at the top. If I want the charts to see above everything else, I pull the cluster at the top. This is at the top, this is at the bottom. Okay, that's how you see the order basically. Okay, for example, I don't want to. And with bar stats also, these are the information that is available. And now in bar stats, wait, just a second. Okay, in bar stats, if you want to, let's say, configure and change certain things, where do you do it? You go to the bar stat settings at the bottom, which is here, and you can add so many data points here. Okay, there's so many data points available. You can say total buy happened, max buy, total volume, delta percentage, sell percentage, max delta, min delta, cumulative delta, caught high, caught low, okay, point of control, view up, etc. So it is basically all the data for the candle that is available. These are the 20-30 data points that are available. You can just keep on adding it here. Okay, for in bar stats. So I just use 3 for now. Okay, and that is good enough. You can probably use the delta percentage if you want to indicate how much delta has happened, in that link, etc. Okay. Now, one thing is, when you do order flow settings, it is very important to understand how much data do I want to see in a node. Okay. So, in one thumb rule is in Nifty. Okay. One thumb rule is in Nifty. You generally, I'm trying to put in 2 to 3 points in one range. What is 2 points basically? If you see, I mentioned at the start of the video, the India stick size is 0.05. Okay. So 0.05 into, if I do 20, that is equal to 1 point. Okay. So if I do 40, that is equal to 2 points. If I do 100, that is equal to 5 points, right? Okay. So what we'll do is, okay, what we do is here basically go here and, in the settings, when in the settings you go to something called as the order flow section. Okay, in the top right settings. Okay, there you combine. So for example, I have made it 40. Okay, for Nifty. For Bank Nifty, I'll do 100. Okay, now what do? You increase it. If your markets are very volatile, if Nifty is doing a 500-point day, or then 40 will not work because my monitor size is limited, right? Okay, so I'll try to then, in that case, I'll make it 100. Then it will take in more 5 points in one range basically. Okay, Bank Nifty, then I'll move to 200 probably, which is basically 20 points in one range. Okay, so that way, because the markets are volatile. If the markets are very slow, then I'll reduce it. I'll make it 20, which is basically 1 point in one range. Okay, so depending on how the markets are moving, you have to sometimes tune this, but the thumb rule is 40 for Nifty, 100 for Bank Nifty. Works most of the time, 80% of the time. Okay, and And if the screen is big, you can make it, you can have more data. If the screen is big, you're using a big screen, then you can reduce this. If your screen is small, you're using a small laptop screen, etc., then you might want to make it from, instead of 40, use it as 60. Okay, that's how you visually see what is best suited for you. But this is a thumb rule. Okay. Don't use auto. I sometimes feel not to use auto. Auto is a good shortcut, but what happens is auto will essentially, depending on the screen size, it will squeeze in the zones and everything. The only problem when you use auto, I felt, is that then you lose context of what got created. If I use auto and if I zoom in and zoom out, these numbers will start changing. Okay, so you lose a bit of context of what has changed basically. Okay, so that's why you not use auto. Okay, now. Okay. So zero at sell side means basically, there is no bid and ask activity that has happened. Okay. It is also represented sometimes as a finished auction. You can call it, okay, in those settings. Footprint chart settings, you can configure from here. Okay, you can configure from here. So if you see footprint chart settings, what I've done is I've done the candle as narrow. How to get this view, for example? I've done a candle to be on the left side. I have on the left side. Okay. Then what I've done is, I want to use double columns, which is basically, I want to use double columns, which is basically 2-column data. So one on the first column, I've put bid and ask, okay, which is bid ask, bid ask, bid ask, which is sell by, sell by, sell by. Yeah, I'll just cover for BTC also. And on the right column, I have used the total delta, which is the delta here. Okay. Okay, I'm also showing the imbalances, which is basically whenever there is X number of more buyers than sellers. What is X for me? I have kept a ratio of 200. I can generally 200 and 300 is a good imbalance number. For example, if I make it 300, so every time there is 300 more buyer and seller, it will be highlighted with a color. Okay, so blue or red basically on the imbalance side. Okay, if there are 2 or 3 imbalances together, it will be highlighted with a support or resistance zone. Okay. So that is how it will be highlighted. Okay, I'm also marking the POC, which is basically the POC here, okay, of the candle. And then, of course, the volume POC and the POC are largely the same thing. You can have it. Okay, I'm also marking the value area of the candle itself, which is basically, if I see, I've just marked it, but I've made it a very light degree just to have a visual idea of where the value is. When there are large candles, I can see actually the value area within the candle. Okay. And you can also have the markers. One good marker to keep is the delta marker. Basically, just on top of each candle, it will show the value of the candle delta, so that even if you're not using bar stats because of lack of screen space, you can have the marker here itself. Okay. 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 And then I think pretty much this. Okay, you can also highlight actually the unfinished and finished auction. If you're using it, don't use it as an indicator, because the accuracy of this alone as an indicator is not very, very high. If you combine it with certain factors, then it is good. But basically, if there is a unfinished auction, it will keep on highlighting it. So, for example, there was an unfinished auction, then eventually there was zero here, it became a finished auction. Okay, this is a market profile concept. Okay. So I'll meanwhile okay. I see trade details. We'll talk in little. Let's talk chart settings and other things. Okay, trade will that's a separate topic altogether. Let's not get into that. We'll do a separate webinar for that. But just quickly cover the chart and then we'll show you some examples. Okay, please. The other thing is the imbalance chart. Imbalance chart is basically nothing.